then actually a lot of the satellites play a vital role. For example, Mr. Kim's presentation just now showed a satellite image of North Korea and South Korea. So you have applications from imaging, you have weather forecasting, you have GPS systems, you have connectivity on board airplanes, maritime vessels, in order for people to be still able to enjoy connectivity. So what I'm trying to say in terms is that satellite pervades our daily life in more ways than we envisage. Now, it's maybe it's a coincidence, but I felt it was very apt that exactly 50 years ago, on today, 50 years ago, Apollo 11 was launched. That was man's first step on the moon. And that was the space race that led to our first endeavor to explore outer space. Now, but before the race to go to the moon, satellite has already been launched in 1957, Sputnik. So, and hark back to 30 years ago in Luxembourg, whereby Vivian Schneider had mentioned in terms of the reinvention of the Luxembourg economy. At that point in time, SES had no orbital slots, no satellite whatsoever, but the intention and the goal was to develop the satellite industry in Luxembourg. So it was a small nation with no space resources, and since then, SES is now the leading global satellite operator with more than 80 commercial satellites globally. This is just the data in terms to try to illustrate the number of satellites on a global basis. And if you look at the sphere of influence, for example, in the UK, in the economy, they have a much bigger economy than Luxembourg. But if you look at the number of active satellites, it's roughly the same. So this shows that even in terms of Luxembourg, a small nation, one with sky-high ambition, is able to have the same kind of resources and the same kind of satellites that it enjoys today, providing connectivity to our customers on a global basis, not just in Europe, but also in Africa and in Asia. So right now, beyond SES, there's also a new space ecosystem that is developing in Luxembourg, in this new space, whereby we talk about satellite operators that are operating in different orbits. So right now, there's an ecosystem that is thriving, and the Luxembourg Space Agency is also going to space resources, space mining, some of the activities that Luxembourg is pushing forward in the space endeavor. Now, this is a basic snapshot of SES. We have 54 satellites globally on the geostationary orbit, which is the white-most orbit. And what I want to draw your attention to is beyond the traditional satellite, we have 3 high-throughput satellites. The difference is that there's now an evolution change or an industry change happening in the satellite communications operations, whereby the goal is to try and develop more throughput at a lower cost to our customers. And on the third one, in terms of medium Earth orbit, which is the middle circle, we are currently the only operational satellite operator with 20 MEO satellites. And with these satellites operating globally, we are able to provide services to our customers. But what I just want to emphasize is that we should also look beyond just the space segment. Because what is critical to customers is to be able to have an end-to-end solution, not just on the space, but on the ground segment. So on the ground side, we also invest together with our partners on ground infrastructure to be able to deliver throughput, deliver data, deliver video from any point in the world to wherever our customer wants. So this is basically what we do. We broadcast channels that reach over 1 billion people globally. We are also very active in the mobility world, whereby we connect over 300 customers in 130 countries. We, in terms of natural disasters, we help to restore connectivity. We also try to push the envelope of innovation in terms of rocket technology. We were the first operator to actually sign up to SpaceX whereby we are willing to use a rocket that has already been launched. Because just for everyone's understanding, previously, for the last 40-odd years, whenever a satellite is launched, the rocket is discarded immediately. But SpaceX has, in the effort to bring down the cost of access to space, has now been able to reuse the same rocket, refurnish it, and provide it to satellite operators. We decided that as SES, as a company, we want to promote access to space. We were willing to take on that task and sign up to use a relaunched and refurbished rocket. We also support telcos in terms of their 4G rollout to connect to rural, to connect to remote areas. So now, your question I think is, okay, you have now understand what SES is all about. So what are we doing here? This is a snapshot that we obtained from Boston Consulting. So in terms of the digital supply chain, these are some of the features that are important in order to make an intelligent, flexible supply chain. But what we believe is that for all this to work, IoT, cloud connectivity, AR, on the edge computing, it boils down to fundamentally all your remote connections must be able to work. At every point of access at the customer, to your back-end system, to your IT system, must all be able to talk to each other in the most seamless, secure, reliable, and flexible way. And how do we provide this connectivity? So I thought that it would be good to actually illustrate through a video what I've been talking for the last few minutes.
5G networks, mobile edge computing, the Internet of Things. As global demand for cloud-scale connectivity is set to skyrocket, SES is leading the industry with new capabilities. Today, SES operates the O3b constellation, the world's only medium Earth orbit or MEO system, delivering high-speed connectivity from space with performance that matches terrestrial fiber networks. Our next-generation MEO system, O3b Power, is bringing exponential scale to the proven O3b model, with 7 new MEO satellites, each with more than 5,000 dynamically shapeable beams. O3b Power will be empowering more people, communities, and businesses with truly global cloud-scale connectivity. As the first terabit scalable system in the world, O3b Power is the most powerful satellite-based communication system ever. Together with its more than 50 geostationary satellites, SES is empowering a world of users and applications with the right connectivity solutions, right where they're needed.
So what we endeavor and this is what we plan to deliver to our customers is in terms of how we provide connectivity across the entire supply chain. We provide end-to-end security. As an example, when you look at embassies around the world, most often than not, they still rely on satellite connectivity to connect their embassies back to their host country. Security is the main concern for them. In terms of connectivity on demand, given the US-China trade war, supply chains are now being re-evaluated in a very real-time basis on how corporations are having to manage and swiftly, at a very low cost, manage and shift their supply chain. By SES being able to provide connectivity on demand and being able to scale and evolve our capacity to meet our customers' demand, that allows our customers the flexibility to react to market trends. In terms of remote expertise, Satellite is able to connect any point on Earth to wherever is required without the need for fiber. Because sometimes you need permits, sometimes you need the last mile is always a challenge for connectivity. In terms of mobility, whereby you talk about vessels, ships, satellite is the only solution when parcels are on route. There's no way to connect a fiber to an aircraft or to a ship. Edge computing. when you are able to now devour or trying to push the computing power to the edge, whereby trying to prevent more the network from being clogged up, this ability to actually allow connectivity at the edge gives more flexibility for supply chain players to be able to make their own supply chain more intelligent. And at the end, in terms of IoT ecosystem, 5G, in terms of that, satellite can continue and will play a complementary role with terrestrial connectivity, such that customers will not care or do not bother where the connectivity is coming. What they matter most is, am I able to talk to my remote sites seamlessly, efficiently, as and when I want it. So these are some of the case studies that we have actually implemented for our customers in terms of digital mines, whereby a mining company needs to be able to know forecast beforehand in terms of the mining schedule. So by being able to put a VSAT terminal at the mine, you are able to first have connectivity at the most remote locations, sometimes in Papua New Guinea or in Indonesia. This allows connectivity to the cloud, improves efficiency and productivity. It also gives crew welfare, whereby the miners have access to the data and makes them more involved in their work. And in terms of when mines need to suddenly go for maintenance or in terms of evolution, we are able to shift the connectivity on a real-time basis. On the maritime side, the last Mr. Kim had previously mentioned that in terms of Busan, it's one of the world's busiest ports. So we also provide connectivity to vessels, whereby as vessels cross from one region to another region and cross between different satellites coverage, our global coverage allows seamless connectivity without a cut in service. We are able to allow them access to real-time data at a very cost-efficient manner. Because previously, I think there were a lot of times whereby shipping companies will always be worried about the cost of connectivity. So they will always try to prioritize what is the most important data that can be transmitted, that should be transmitted back. But with a bigger connectivity at a lower cost, right now you are able to now mine, headquarters is able to mine the data more efficiently in a real-time basis. Crew can also talk to their loved ones back home. It makes for a whole nicer and more efficient productivity and production timeline across the supply chain, across the fishing routes. In terms of oil rigs, this is another example whereby we are able to connect the oil rigs to their headquarters and being able to scale our bandwidth consumption according to the production timeline, whether there is, in terms of there might be a hurricane coming forth, we might be able to then scale down, move up our connectivity on demand. This is an example, and we have done this quite a few times, whereby, and specifically, this might be more relevant to countries in the Pacific Islands, whereby most of them, they rely on connectivity to the outside world through fiber. But when natural disasters break, or sometimes when a deep sea dredging vessel hits the fiber, the whole connectivity goes down, the whole island gets cut off from the outside world for a few hours. But in terms of being able to restore, we have successfully, through our mail system, being able to provide and restore connectivity within a matter of days or hours. Because by having this remote island being cut off from the outside world, there's a cost to the economy. So it's important that we are able to provide that connectivity very quickly, restoring them back. So right now, 5G is also the talk of the town. I know that Korea is moving very strongly on 5G. We believe that satellite will continue to play a role in 5G, and this is how we envisage that we will continue to do so. And these are some of the use cases whereby in terms of trunking, backhauling, mobility, and hybrid multiplay. And as a summary, this is what we believe that satellite role in supply chain can play a role in terms of coverage, reliability, flexibility, networking at the edge, and security. So right now, beyond the moon, people are talking to Mars, right now, but I think right now there's also a race ongoing to connect the world with connectivity through high-speed internet. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much.